Hey everybody! So there's been a lot of talk in the news lately about power outages. To give you some context, we're in the middle of February, and states like Texas and Mississippi and the southern parts of the US, they've seen snow and ice and freezing temperatures that they rarely ever see. This has put a pretty big strain on their power grid and led to a lot of people being without power. It's also led to rolling power outages in states like Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas, where they purposefully shut down the grid for 30 minutes to an hour or 2 hours at a time to make sure that they don't run out of power. Now, I live in Minnesota. We're used to sub-zero temperatures, and our grid is built to handle situations like this on a yearly basis. However, there are times when we lose power entirely. So I figured I would show you today how I deal with intermittent power outages. It's pretty simple. It involves my portable generator and a little plug that I wired into my house. Now, there's a couple things that we'll discuss, and this is not going to be for a true grid down scenario. This is going to be for if you lose power for a couple hours, up to a couple days, maybe up to a week, just so long as you have gasoline handy. So stay tuned. Get your pens and papers handy, take some notes, and don't burn the house down. So here's the star of the show. This is my Predator 3500 watt generator. It's a 3000 running watt generator with a 3500 watt peak. And I bought this for use with my travel trailer, which if you've seen my other videos, I use that quite a bit. This does really well for powering my travel trailer, but it will also power my house for extended periods of time if need be. So this is what we're going to be using today to power the house. Now let me show you how this is going to work. On the other videos on my channel, I've talked about my Sense. This is my home energy monitor, and this is a real-time reading right now of my home's energy. The only reason I know that I can use that Predator 3500 to power my house is because my house does not peak over 3,000 watts at any given moment. If you look up here in the corner, that's my usage, okay? If you are going to use a generator, you have to understand that things like your clothes dryer, your curling iron, anything that has a heating element that is a high draw device, you are not going to be able to use those because you will trip that generator. If you have a home generator that will put out 10 or 15,000 watts, then yeah, go for it. But using a little portable Predator generator like I'm using, you have to understand you're going to be sacrificing those high draw devices. Now in my home, I can use my televisions, I can keep my lights on, I can use pretty much anything within my house because I have an energy efficient home, and I will not draw more than 3,000 watts at any given time, just so long as I steer clear of those high draw devices. So that's the first thing that you have to be aware of. Another thing that I do preparing my house for any sort of grid down situation is realizing that if I want lights to be on while I'm on generator, my lights had better be LED. You see, I have 10 of these can lights in my basement. When I first moved in here, these were each 100 watt bulbs, which means to have all of these lights on, I was using 1,000 watts just to power the lights. Now my generator can only put out 3,000 watts, so a third of that would have been used just on these lights alone. Swapping these to LEDs, these are 25 watts apiece, which means I now have 250 watts drawing to keep my entire basement lit if I need to. Now, obviously, if I'm trying to save electricity, I'm probably not going to leave all these lights on, but that's just one example of things that you can do to your house ahead of time to make sure that if you have to power it with a generator, you'll be able to. The other thing that you have to have in order for this to work is a natural gas furnace or propane furnace and a natural gas or propane water heater. I can tell you right now that with my heater running, my house is only drawing 970 watts, there we go, of electricity. That's because the only thing running in that heater right now that requires electricity is the igniter, which is temporary, and then the fan. So if you have electric heat, you may have to find additional ways to heat your home. And again, this is assuming that you don't lose your gas as well. So if the grid goes down and the gas is still flowing, this will work. Otherwise, you need to make sure you have backup sources of heat available. If you lose power and you're going to run off a generator, you have to understand that there may be some sacrifices that have to be made. Unfortunately, this fish tank of mine has a heater in here. When that heater kicks on, it draws a decent amount of electricity. In a true scenario where I have to go a week or so without electricity, I'm going to have to unplug this in order to save that electricity and use it on things that are more obviously for my family. In a situation like that, you may have to see your fish die. So just keep those things in mind. One other thing you absolutely have to think about if you do lose power and you need to switch over to a generator is what vampire devices do you have that may be drawing that ever precious electricity that you may need for something else. So take, for example, my charger for my PlayStation controllers. I don't even think about this being plugged in, but it is drawing electricity right now. The same with a PlayStation that's in standby mode or a PC that's in standby mode. These things can draw electricity and they do add up if your television's in standby mode, etc., etc. So if you do lose power and you do need to switch to a generator, go unplug all of these devices to make sure that you are drawing as little current as necessary. And then if you have extra electricity to spare, you can plug these things in. But I will say that a gaming PC or a PlayStation or Xbox, that is going to eat up a lot of your electricity. And if you only have 3,000 watts to work with like I do, those are luxuries you're going to have to do without. So let's look and see how I have this wired into my panel. What you're looking at right here is my generator interlock switch. My generator is wired to the house using this dual 50 amp breaker. Now what I had previously, which I'll show you outside, I used to have a hot tub out there and it had this big breaker attached to it. I took the hot tub out after it died and I repurposed that electrical box out there for my generator box. But if you do lose power, it is absolutely vital that your main to your house is shut off. Now, why is that? So let's say I've got the generator hooked up to the house, but the main is still on. Maybe there's a power line that went down the block. Well, I'm pumping electricity into my house, and anything I don't use is going to go back out through my main, and it's going to go back down the line down the block. And some poor lineman down the block who's working on it might think that there's no electricity, and he gets zapped and electrocuted or killed because I'm putting excess electricity back into the grid. So what a generator interlock switch does, it prevents me from being able to turn on my generator without first shutting off my main 100%. And I'll leave a link to these in the description box below. So the first thing I have to do is when the power goes out is kill my main, and that will allow me then, this plate will drop down and allow me to turn on my generator. Now let me go outside and show you how this is hooked up. It's crazy you can hear birds out here when it's 10 degrees, but this is that electrical box that I was talking about. This used to go down and over to the patio, which is where the hot tub was, but I removed those wires and repurposed the box here. And what I did is I installed a generator 125 watt plug that I can plug in my generator electrical cord to. So in a situation where I need to use my generator, first thing we're going to do is kill the main inside, and then we're going to turn the generator breaker on inside and outside, and then we are going to hook up the generator. So let me show you how that works. One more thing I should probably point out that's probably unique to my situation is I do have my solar panels hooked up, and I do not know what would happen in a grid down situation if I were to use my generator in conjunction with my solar panels. The way that the solar panels work is they first send electricity into my house, and any excess electricity goes back into the grid, and it spins my meter right here backwards. Well, if there's no grid hooked up, I don't know if that's going to blow up my generator or what's going to happen. So in order to prevent damage to my system or prevent damage to my generator, we're just going to shut this off for the sake of this experiment, which is this rapid switch right here. My solar is now off. I'm also going to kill my solar panel breaker inside the box just to be double safe. It might seem silly to have to remind people about this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Never, ever, ever, ever operate a generator inside. Obviously, these are gasoline engines. They put off exhaust, and that exhaust will kill you. So do not run it in your garage, do not run it in your house, and do not run it near your house, as that can leak in through your windows. So what I've done just for our testing purposes here, I've brought it out here on my back deck, and I have a extension cord that will run from there to the box there. Now, let's say it's snowing like crazy. I'm not gonna have it sitting here. I'd put it underneath the deck there with some additional covering on it if need be. My extension cord is long enough to do that. So never run these things inside. Okay, so let's mimic a power outage. Let's say the lights have just gone off and I know they're gonna be off for a little while. What do? Well, the first thing I do is I'm going to come out here and kill the main. You notice as soon as I did that, my interlock dropped down and gave me the ability to flip open my generator breaker. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to kill every one of these breakers. You're only going to turn them on one by one, and only the ones that you need, because you want to make sure that you don't overload your generator at startup, okay? The power's off, lights are off. Now let's head outside. The Predator generator is unique in the fact that the big RV plug is only a 3-prong outlet. So to make this work, my house has a 4-prong outlet. So my extension cord here is I have a 3-prong adapter that goes into the 4-prong extension cord, and then the other end of it is a 4-prong as well. And I will leave a link to all of these in the description below. So let's get the generator fired up. All right, generator's running. I've got the cord plugged in. It's currently drawing 0 amps, 0 volts. I've got it plugged into the house panel. It's time to start energizing panels. So first thing first, turn this one on. And then I come in here, flip this one on. And now I can start kicking on one by one some of my breakers. So first thing I'm going to try is garage lights. Look at that. Lights are on. Generator's kicked down a little bit. You heard it probably bog down there. Next thing I'm going to kick on is the furnace, which is number 8. Furnace is on. I'm also going to do number 12, which is my utility room. And then 11, which is my kitchen outlets. Also 18 for garage, because that is where I have a freezer plugged in. Now let's go check that thing. So with all that running right now, we're drawing 123 volts, 4.2 amps, 516 watts. 650 watts, 670 watts. Let's go see what's running inside, shall we? So my freezer has turned on. It's running. Obviously the lights in the garage are on. I'll shut those off just to save some draw here. And check it out, we've got heat. I can even turn this off. This is my whole house circulator. That'll save 100 watts. But the heater's running as well. See if we have any lights. Nope, no lights yet. Okay, so we're at 600 watts pulling right now. We've got the fridge and the furnace running. This fridge is currently off. Let's go flip open a couple more breakers, shall we? Back at the breaker box, I'm going to turn everything on except for the air conditioner and the dryer, because there's no need that those would ever be used. You can hear the generator bogging as it takes more of this load. There she goes. Go one at a time so that you don't have a peak in the generator that it can't handle. Okay, the entire house is now on. Let's see what we're pulling off the generator here. 123 volts, 7.3 amps, 885 watts, 900 watts. This generator can handle 3,000 running watts. So right now we are doing A-okay. Let's go inside. Once again, so we're back inside. I have lights, which again, LED. The fridge is running, I can hear it. Lights on. I've even got my Google displays running, which obviously I would unplug those if need be. Lights out here work. Hallway works. Bathroom works. A ceiling fan in my bedroom's on. That's a good sign. So my entire house right now, including the fish tank, I didn't forget about you guys, it is running off the generator comfortably under 1,000 watts. The heater's running, the house is warm, my food's not going to spoil, everybody in here is going to stay safe. That generator is powering my entire house. So there you have it. I even have Wi-Fi right now because my router's turned on. So my house is entirely running off of the Predator 3,000 watt generator comfortably. That thing hasn't spiked past 2,000. My refrigerator and my freezer are both running. I've got plenty of electricity to spare, so if I wanted to turn on a TV, charge phones, I could live my normal life aside from using the air fryer or a hair dryer or the clothes dryer. But in a temporary grid down situation, that's going to power my house for as long as I have the fuel necessary to run that. And that generator will run for 8 to 10 hours at a medium load like this. At a maximum load, I've had it go about 5 or 6 hours. So, you know, a couple of 5-gallon gas tanks will get me through for several days, if not up to a week. So there you have it. Just give you one last look before I shut it down. We're at 1,400 watts. There's a lot of stuff running in the house right now. I turned on a lot of light switches. I turned the TV on. The refrigerator and the freezer are both running under 1,400 watts, which means we're not even pushing this generator to half of its capacity yet. So, like I said, this isn't going to be a permanent solution, but in a temporary grid down situation, this could absolutely save your life. Now let's say the power comes back on. You notice that the neighbors have power or the street lights have come back on. What do? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to kill the generator. You don't want to power a generator down when it's under load. The house just died. I'll come back out here just for my second breaker. You wouldn't normally have this second breaker, but this again is where the hot tub was wired, so it was there, so I just figured I'd use it. Put my generator interlock back up, flip my main back on. There. Now the lights are back on. Well, if I had the light switch on. But the power's back in the house. Freezer's back on. Turn back on the solar system. Disconnect the generator. So a couple things to wrap this video up. There are ways that you can have an actual emergency panel wired into your existing electrical box that just has your necessities on it. And that's how most people would have a backup generator wired into their house. That way it doesn't need to electrify the entire panel. But for me, this was a very cost-effective way of doing this. Now, obviously, if you're not comfortable with electricity, don't try to wire that plug into your house. Pay an electrician to do it. But if you have a small generator that you use for an RV, or maybe if you do work off-site or any of that sort, a 3,000, 4,000 watt generator, it can absolutely power your house just like mine did in a temporary grid down situation. That little Harbor Freight generator, that Predator 3500, you can pick those up for $750. You can get the actual generator, which is a little bit louder, for $300 or $400. I mean, they're super cheap. Now, obviously, you can do a Honda or go whatever brand you want, but that Predator works great. It's pretty quiet, it's very fuel efficient, and it powers my entire house. So what else do you really need? Also, if you happen to really know solar panels, drop a comment below on what would happen if I left my panels running and my generator running. I have no idea how that would work, and I can't seem to find a straight answer anywhere. And I'm definitely not going to risk it just to see what happens. I mean, that's a lot of solar to blow up, or if it happens to backfeed my generator, that would be a bad thing too. So if you have any idea how that might work, drop me a comment because I'd really be curious to see how that goes. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please drop a like and consider subscribing. I do a lot of crazy weird stuff on my channel, but this one seemed kind of serious and very relevant, so I wanted to get it out there today to show you guys how I do this. Stay safe, stay warm, keep your families happy and healthy, and thanks for watching.